I feel like I'm interrupting something.
Stay.
One of the best parts has been getting to see people's reaction, both at festivals, getting to put it up in front of my classmates, my peers.
The process of this film is so different than the other projects I've been on because we had so many meetings, I don't know, 6 months or like almost a year before we shoot to discuss the script.
Shirley hopped right on board from the first iterations. There was like 200 pages that I wrote over the course of a year.
I think what we end up shooting is the best draft for sure.
There were meetings with Alina, we would draw storyboards.
I really enjoyed drawing the storyboards. It was something that I've always done. I always had a background in sketching and studio art. And so it just really was a wonderful way to just externalize my thoughts onto these images.
I brought Olivia on very early because the intimate scene was critical to this story. Seeing the three of them compatible in every possible way was important.
It was honestly probably the first project in which I was involved from the very beginning.
I loved the chemistry read. I had so much fun just like being in the room, because I think the first one I did was with Josh and Betsy.
Never had a chemistry read for like a student project before.
I feel like we played around a bit with what kind of things we wanted people to read in terms of casting. I think the scene that we were having the characters read wasn't even going to be in the script anymore, but at that point we were kind of like, what's the best thing that we can have?
The only thing that I was bitter about was that you cut the Jennifer's body bit.
The film kind of covers the more uncomfortable, what if we talked about it?
You know, and I threw a relatively major dialogue rewrite at them the weekend, so basically the day before we shoot.
I just remember, like me and Josh were like, okay, we have to go have this conversation. Okay, let's read it right now.
And we never have to cut or go back for a missed line or anything.
Like, it was nice to have the actors meet the intimacy coordinator before anything started, to also get to know her a little bit.
So I was just so excited to have this, like, you know, frankly really complex scene be something that had been taken so much care of.
Was such a journey, such an adventure, and I love adventure.
Hello, Adam. Good morning.
It's Monday morning, day one of the shoot.
Look at this. Yeah, it's very dark, but I guess that's what happens when it's 5:21 a.m.
There's something great about waking up at 4:45 a.m., you know, for something you love. We get there and it's thunderstorm, and we have ginormous metal equipment that we need to transport about 20 feet, and I don't want to get hit by lightning.
When we were setting up the first shot, we flipped it. That was like the only like hiccup.
I drew the storyboards and you just flipped it.
I just always think it's funny that in my close-up, I think I was talking to Fee.
One of our actors had to run to a fight final.
I was like, guys, I really need to go to this class, I'm sorry.
I remember editing it. I was like, oh yeah, they weren't actually looking at the other actors. One of them wasn't there.
Because I'm pretty sure they happened during the finals period. We did all this.
I remember writing my final anthropology paper during the lunch break. I remember sitting in the equipment room, like balanced on top of Pelican cases. Like,
I remember the AC Alex was studying. He opened up his laptop and he was literally turning in his like Da Vinci final or something.
I was really excited about costumes and lighting. Like kind of the external kind of aspects of it coming into form, especially after like I had a meeting one-on-one with Fee, and we like went through like all kind of the pitch decks of costuming.
I am a very research-centered designer, and so going into the project, I did a lot of visual research. I did a lot of annotating of the script in its various forms. I went through and I did a lot of photo matching up to make sure, hey, this is what comes to mind. How can I help those silhouettes or those visions really come to life?
It was important to me that this didn't just become a fantasy, that it remained their love story. And the people I had on my team, from Olivia to, Alina, Sophie, and people in my class who would give me feedback.
I really, really appreciate your decision to get a female DP and a female gaffer. You don't see that very often at all. I think that's very important, especially for the industry right now.
Learning the protocols and watching Olivia educate cast and crew about how these sex scenes are not sexy at all.
Doing those things, you're so removed from like actual intimacy because, you know, when you're filming it, you're not thinking about that at all, frankly.
For the fact of Olivia being such an amazing cheerleader, throwing us our robes, throwing us chocolate kisses, having deodorant ready, like.
As soon as you said cut, Olivia was just like yeeting bathrobes at us. I mostly remember that just because it was hysterical. And also I was like, it's like 100 degrees in here. I could easily do without this.
It was very hot.
I spent a lot of time being the AC gremlin.
Yes. Oh my god, I'd totally forgotten about that. Yeah, Fee was the AC gremlin.
I hadn't gotten to work on a piece with openly LGBTQ characters, and also, or a piece that dealt so directly with sexuality and romanticism.
And I think one thing that made me really happy in the process is that you wanted to play with color. Your influence, Jennifer's body, I loved because it was so color-based. It was really nice to pull off of that.
Just any opportunity to go handheld and really, get intimate, with these like close-up shots and really getting close to the actors. It was definitely one of those really like creative moments for me.
Alita won an award for cinematography, which absolutely deserved.
I was pleasantly surprised watching the final cut with the music choices. I never realized how like melodic and ethereal and like calm I would feel. And so as a viewer, you just feel very, comfortable.
My composer rickrolled me.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He sent me a couple samples for different scenes of like what things could sound like, and he has one labeled like scene 3, melody 4, best.
And you showed it to Inez, and she was like, "Oh, that's funny," and you were like, "Why?" She was like, "Are you stupid?"
It is not, in fact, a really good original melody. It was the tune to Rick Astley's "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Watching it at first run was so nice. It was really nice just kind of seeing everybody and watching it all together and just kind of like, really supporting everyone, seeing your names in the credits.
Sharing yourself like that is always going to be an intimate thing on film. I think especially with the content too. It was like...
That was special. To sit next to you and watch it and to like hear people react to this thing I got so familiar with.
I'm really glad that people are watching it, because that's the only reason to make something